The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 we're discussing here on the day. Now, the first big thing is that going into Friday, we kind of have a little bit of a dip. And this kind of went, again, the baseline of what usually happens when we have a strong overall week, especially going into Fridays. We go and look at that data, and as you can see, I posted this on Twitter. The link is down below. That, 45% of Fridays have been our highest close on the week, especially when we're getting that continuation on the S&P. So we go to something like the SPY, and as you can see, this was not our highest weekly close. But what I will say is it looks like a great sign of continuation here. We look at the overall pattern, nice consolidation, a little bit of a bull flag, still holding up. To give you, a little bit of, room for understanding, this was your previous all-time high right there going back into March, right? So it's very important to understand where we're at and kind of how we're moving here. So again, as you can see, we're still very, very bullish. Even going to Qs, you're operating well above that level as well. So still very, very strong. And you actually had a perfect bounce off of those previous all-time highs there on the Nasdaq and QQQ right here at 449. So really good to see where you're at and how you're moving. And you definitely can see what's happening with tech, because ultimately what we expect tech to do the heavy lifting here. You see volume kind of consolidating here too as well on the downtrend. So going into next week, I have a definite viewpoint of how I think the market plays out and the overall strength entailing there as well. Now, the other thing I will say here too is we go down the list of data coming out this week. It's a lot of Fed speakers going into Wednesday. So as you can see, tomorrow you have Powell speaking. This is Sunday. And you have more Fed members. And then you have going into Wednesday, you have some home sales, which will be important because, again, home sales rising is very bullish for the market. So we'll see what happens there. You have your Fed minutes on Wednesday, which is just a recap of everything else at the last Fed meeting. And the market kind of liked the last Fed meeting as well. And then this is where things get interesting near Thursday and Friday with jobless claims. Jobless claims is what you could argue led to the start of everything happening here. So jobless claims, the Fed balance sheet, that should be good as well because they started the drawdown on that as well. And some durable goods. But again, and the Michigan consumer data as well. But in my opinion, the biggest thing that's going to be coming out here will be jobless claims on Thursday, and that's what we'll be paying the most attention to. Fed speakers will be interesting, but they're all going to say pretty bullish things based on what's happened with the latest inflation readings. And they're going to be, in my opinion, kind of optimistic. And that's my viewpoint there. Speaking of trading, if you've been using a basic investing app for the past few years, I highly recommend that you step it up and graduate to a better investing platform that can grow with you, which in my opinion is today's sponsor, Moomoo. Like other platforms, Moomoo has a super intuitive user interface, really easy to use, but unlike the other platforms, they have everything that you're using right at your fingertips. Whether it be your analysis tools, up to the minute live data on the markets, what's happening with options data. And it's worth mentioning, while other platforms charge a premium for the quality of data that you're getting here at Moomoo, Moomoo does not charge a dime when it comes to getting live data on the charts. So for any of you that are serious about your investment journey, Moomoo's platform is worth checking out. The link is down below. It helps me out, it helps you out. If you have any questions, comment down below. Let's get back to the video. Now, as we jump back in here again, when I look at a chart like this, I don't know what else could get me more excited. I mean, I'm getting married tomorrow, but I'm not gonna lie, this is the best looking thing that I've probably gonna see over the weekend. Allie, I love you, but if I could, I would name our son Nasdaq because this thing is gorgeous, it's strong, and I think it could knock any bear out. That's what I personally believe. So you're bouncing on that previous high, and it looks like you want to get the run back to the upside. That's what I like right there. And again, what gets us excited here? Tech. And so you can bet your left testicle that Tyler has some big tech buys that he's looking at over the weekend. Okay. Now also too, guys, if you were looking at, I'm sorry, I just had that up there, but if you were looking at our indicators and you're interested, the link is down below for Lux Algo, so you can see all of our indicators, the order blocks, FEGs, things along those lines. There's even oscillators, some indicators that we don't use, but the only indicators I use really come from, just to let you know, Lux Algo. The link is down below, code OD40 for 40% off, so make sure you check them out. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the good part of the video now. Now, despite that we had some dippage on the overall market, let's talk about what happened here and things that I was looking at and kind of visualizing. Now, let's look at, before we go to equities, we're going to look at some of the fundamental things, right? DXY. The DXY came to our level here, and also the 200 SMA. So 1, 2, you bounced, and now you're kind of coming back down. Friday, little consolidation, but not much to the upside, okay? I still like the DXY for downside below 104.2, and I think you are getting slapped, right? I think you're getting slapped. So going down to the 30-year yield. You came right down to the 200 SMA. You did bounce, right? You're still kind of bouncing. You want to see more love towards the downside as well there. Also, too, risk on versus risk off. I'm going to tell you right now, Bitcoin, doing its thing. Above 64K, like we mentioned, above 64K, you break and hold that level, boom, straight to the next level, 67K, then 69.2. If you get above 69.2 here on Bitcoin, I am extremely bullish. That's really all I can say there. But again, I'm really watching the yields to see they start to come back down. I still think they will, especially with weakness into the dollar. The next thing too is going to be what's happening here with oil and energy. I want to see that we're at a very big inflection point. Okay, so let's make this really clear. Now this is kind of ugly because I was going over like the movements and what was happening with the last data reading, but really quickly, okay, I'm gonna highlight something to you. You have bounced at your 200 weekly moving average on oil, crude oil, the barrel, for the past basically year, since last February. Like bounce, just nonstop. Okay. The question is can you break below it? You're now pinched between the 200 daily, which is the yellow, and the orange, which is the 200 weekly. If we get further continuation of downside on oil, I think it further improves disinflation. That's my opinion, and that's how I think we will just overall move. So again, I like what's happening here. I want to see us get below the 200 SMA near 75. If we just trend near 75, I think you're so bullish to just like, I mean, you got to stay optimistic. Looks great, looks good, can't complain. Okay, those are the biggest things there. Now, stocks. Now I'm excited. Now, last week I told you guys semiconductors were the move. And I think this week is still the same story. Now, it's important for you to know that on Tuesday, I believe, let's make sure, go to Earning Whispers. I believe on Tuesday, we do have NVIDIA earnings. Wednesday, I'm sorry. NVIDIA, we do have NVIDIA earnings. We also have the CEO of NVIDIA, Dell, and another company. I can't think of the last one. We'll be talking Monday around 1 p.m. Central. Now, really quick, when we go over and look at some of the options on NVIDIA, you're going to notice they're always expensive, but they're a little bit more expensive, right? Because the expected move coming in here. Okay, I want to make that really clear. Okay, so I like NVIDIA a lot, but I'm not going to be trading NVIDIA through earnings. Very unlikely. If I was going to do anything, I'd be going for $1,000 contracts for June's expiration. I think those are probably my favorite. They're around $35. They do move pretty decent. I've made some money off them going into this week. So yeah, that's what I'd be biased towards. Now, the next one I'm going to mention is going to be AMD. And this is the baby boy here. Now, AMD had a pretty tough Friday, but I think overall it wasn't terrible. Now, really quick, 5-minute chart here. Now, this is all you're watching, right? It's 164.5, basically. Now, what is this level? Just to let you know. This level is your 2021 all-time high. Your previous 2021 all-time high before the 2022 crash, okay? And you are pinballing around it. You cannot hold. It's just going back and forth, okay? Now, if you want to trade NVIDIA earnings and you want to not get destroyed by IV Crush, what you're going to want to do is focus on either AMD, maybe Micron. Those are going to be your top plays. I think AMD is the better play here. AMD also AMD, Microsoft. This was big. This is why AMD was looking so good Friday morning, because Microsoft got a deal with AMD. Yes. And if you don't know, the Azure data centers are pretty big. So again, this was really big for AMD. I like it a lot, and I think if NVIDIA does well in their earnings, I think AMD will do really good as well. I think you're paying less money for these contracts as well. Again, now, you're not going to be protected by IV going into the earnings, so just understand that. So if you want to close before earnings, you might want to just trade NVIDIA so you're protected by IV. But if I go for like 621s, I'm able to go for like 170s for like around $6.30. Now, I kind of like the 175s, but again, you can even go further out, closer to, middle of summer, July. Also a good option, right? $7.40. I kind of like these as well. And I'm pointing these out because I think these could get in the money. Why? So again, what are our key levels? And if you notice, and if you've been here for a while, Tyler's levels, they typically stay the same. You remember this level up here, 174.7? Look at all those touches, all those bounces nonstop. Well, that's going to be my next target on AMD. And I think if you look good, I think you're pushing to that. Now, if you get above that and you start holding it, then you're like in a position like, well, I can actually hold some of these contracts. And we've seen the reaction when you get above 175 as well. It's very bullish, right? Very, very strong. Almost a $5 move every single time. So that's why I like the 175s right there in the middle, a little bit out of the money. It still allows you the opportunity to make money as well. You've also been pretty volatile, as you can see on AMD. Now, when you get in these ranges like this, you don't want to do too much of those out of the money contracts, especially on a low volatile name. But AMD makes a little bit more sense, okay? A little bit further. Home Depot. Woo, woo, woo. I feel like it's the play that just gives us a billion opportunities, and it's eventually going to pop, and everyone's like, oh, I missed it. I like Home Depot a lot. I'm not going to go to the option chain, but I like it. I'm just going to tell you, I don't really care about anything else. When it goes into like the data, everything's behind it. I think they're going to do well going through summer. Personal opinion, do what you got to do. A little bit further, I'm just trying to go over my top names. Robinhood finally breaking back out of 19.5. I've been saying this on Robinhood. Look, this is the story here on Robinhood, guys. Let me tell you right now. If you like Robinhood, all you do is you go out, you get some time on these contracts. You can go 2025 if you want, right? They're not that expensive. They're $3 for the $25 strikes. You could have got the $20 strikes for like $3, even almost as low as $2 last week, like 250 cents. So, do what you got to do. You can go out to 2026. I have a lot of 2026s, but again, Robinhood, I love what they're doing. Crypto's doing well. I think Robinhood is going to do very well. Again, you break out of this box, it's going to be explosive. Again, we look at some of these boxes where you range trade here, boom. 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 Again, you like the consolidation is good for a stock. And I think this was a massive opportunity. Congrats if you got in. Absolutely love it. Right now, guys, I'm just going over my favorite names. So I'm sorry if I didn't cover a name that you want me to cover today. But yeah, Tesla's just not moving great. I don't really know what it's doing here. You're above 175, so that's a start. But I really like to see us get back above 180. Above 180, we're looking for 185. Above 185, 194. So again, Tesla, interesting, looks decent, would be watching it. Microsoft, you need to hold above 421. Basically, above 421, you're pushing into 424. Above 427.8, I have you going into all-time highs. So make sure you're watching that one as well. Those are my favorite names. That's what I'm watching here in the market, guys. If you have questions, I'll see you guys later. I will see you on Monday. No video tomorrow, so have a good weekend. Best of luck. Check out the links in the bio if you're interested and you want to support the channel.